One decision by powerful institutions to contain scandal instead of expose it kept Jeffrey Epstein insulated for years. Jeffrey Epstein first appeared in elite financial circles in the late 1970s and 1980s, working at Bear Stearns before presenting himself as a private money manager for ultra-wealthy clients. His resume remained opaque, but his access expanded. He cultivated relationships with prominent politicians, academics, royalty, business leaders, and scientists. Donations flowed to universities. High-profile figures visited his properties. Reputation by association became his shield. By the early 2000s, allegations surfaced in Palm Beach, Florida, that Epstein paid underage girls for sexual acts. Police investigations gathered witness statements describing a pattern. Recruiters approached vulnerable teenagers, offered money for massages, and drew them into a broader exploitation scheme. In 2008, after federal prosecutors prepared a potential indictment, Epstein secured a controversial non-prosecution agreement. He pleaded guilty in state court to lesser charges of soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor. He received an 18-month sentence and served roughly 13 months in a county jail, much of it under work release conditions that allowed him to leave custody for extended periods. The agreement barred federal prosecution of potential co-conspirators and remained sealed from many victims at the time. Years later, critics described the deal as unusually lenient. After release, Epstein resumed a lifestyle that suggested limited long-term consequence. He maintained residences in Manhattan, Palm Beach, New Mexico, Paris, and a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Flights on his private jet, later nicknamed in media reporting, became subjects of public scrutiny. Civil suits continued. Some accusers pursued settlements. Others pressed for renewed criminal investigation. In 2018, investigative reporting by the Miami Herald revisited the 2008 agreement and amplified survivor accounts. Public attention intensified. Federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York opened a new case. In July 2019, Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking of minors and conspiracy. The indictment alleged a years-long pattern of abuse involving dozens of underage girls. During a search of his Manhattan townhouse, authorities reported finding large sums of cash and other evidence. Epstein was detained at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. On August 10, 2019, he was found unresponsive in his cell. The New York City Office of Chief Medical Examiner ruled the death a suicide by hanging. Subsequent investigations identified serious procedural failures at the jail, including lapses in required monitoring. 2 correctional officers later faced federal charges related to falsifying records. Those charges were resolved through agreements involving community service and supervision. His death prevented a criminal trial. Attention shifted to associates, including Ghislaine Maxwell, who was arrested in 2020, convicted in 2021 on federal sex trafficking charges, and sentenced to prison. Civil litigation expanded. Epstein's estate established a compensation program for victims, resulting in numerous settlements. The Epstein case exposed structural tensions within the justice system. Prosecutorial discretion, sealed agreements, disparities in treatment between wealthy defendants and ordinary citizens, and institutional oversight failures in federal detention. It also fueled widespread speculation about the influence of elite networks. Multiple official investigations found no evidence supporting homicide claims, yet public skepticism persists, driven by the scale of his associations and the circumstances of his death. At its core, the story forces a broader reckoning. Wealth and proximity to power do not automatically guarantee immunity, but they can complicate accountability. The record shows criminal conduct, controversial prosecutorial decisions, systemic breakdowns, and unresolved public distrust. The uncomfortable question remains: was Jeffrey Epstein primarily an individual predator who manipulated access and privilege, or a symptom of deeper institutional weaknesses that allowed exploitation to persist in plain sight?